Hey, and welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show, where we are now on our journey and getting there to our 250,000 subscribers. So thank you for the support. So on Thursday, Trump spoke at the Economic Club of New York. Now, I want to be clear. This is not just some party house. This isn't like some country club. This is the Economic Club of New York. And I want to show you some clips, starting with a clip of Trump talking about treating the economy like it was his own company. Let's go to that clip and you'll get my reaction.
For 4 straight years, I fought for American workers like I would fight for my own family. I took care of our economy like I would take care of my own company.
Yeah. How about if you do us all in the United States of America a real favor? And how about if you don't treat it like your company? Let's just take a look at something which we're all able to just go on our handheld devices and look it up. That's the stock market. All right. You have Trump Media and Technology. I think it goes under TMTG. That stock, which started out as a SPAC, has now lost 74% of its value since its creation. And that creation is only what? 8 months ago, 6 months ago? In say like 6 months to lose 74%. Imagine what the United States economy would look like under those circumstances. So do us a big favor, stay away from our economy. And then let's take a look at some of the other big gigantic failures. Trump Atlantic casinos. How many bankruptcies did those? He ended up selling them. Not only right now is our stock market going through the roof at an all-time high, but tell me, who loses money as a casino operator? The answer is basically nobody. You had Trump Stakes, you had Trump Mortgage, you had Trump University, you had the Trump Charitable Trust. You have all of these companies all went under. Why? Because Donald Trump is not what he purports to be. It's not what he will tell you that he is. He's a terrible operator. Terrible. And don't take my word for it. Look yourself. Actually, the Los Angeles Times did an incredible article on this where they talked about the gigantic failures that all had the Trump brand name attached to it. All right, look, I can go on and on. I think everybody already knows about that. But then Trump then goes on and in the same thing, he talks about a wealth fund, creating a United States wealth fund. We got to go to this clip, and then you're going to hear my reaction because none of this makes any sense at all.
Why don't we have a wealth fund? Other countries have wealth funds. We have nothing. We have nothing. We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, or we can name it something different. I'll talk about it with Mr. Paulson, who's in the audience, and a lot of other friends of mine. And we'll name it something that's appropriate. Perhaps sovereign wealth fund wouldn't be appropriate, but it's going to be the same thing. We'll put tremendous amounts of money through all this money that will be taken in through tariffs and other intelligent things. And we'll have the greatest sovereign wealth fund of them all, and we should have. And that will be used to do things that will be great for our country, including to invest.
Who has sovereign wealth funds, right? Who has sovereign wealth funds as a democracy, as a democratic republic? The answer is nobody. Who is he referring to? He's referring to countries like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia, right? Where these are state-owned. And when I say state, I'm not talking about a specific state. I'm talking about the country. It's a country-owned wealth fund that invests. That's not who we are. That's not what we do. But he wants to change it. And he's got thrown out the name John Paulson. He's thrown John Paulson's name out. Why? John Paulson he's a billionaire. He's a guy who made a lot of money. Invests his own money and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, this is what we should do. Yeah, right. Have you ever heard more word vomit coming out of one man during the most incoherent babble in the history, I think, of any president ever? I mean, it's almost like the guy has that concussion syndrome that he's walking around with. Nothing makes any sense. To create a sovereign wealth fund? First of all, we're not a sovereign country. We're a democratic republic. The whole concept is batshit crazy and it is backwards. But then it's not over. The word vomit didn't stop. It's like a barf fest. I mean, it's like he's throwing up all over the place with more and more stupidity. He then goes on to talk about what he knows best, that's doom and gloom. And he wants to talk about this in order to scare people, claiming that he is the only one out there who can actually fix our broken country. Let's go to that video and get my reaction.
With illegal aliens pouring in from countries all over the world. They came in from countries that nobody ever heard the name of that country. Those countries, from their prisons and jails, there is a difference, from mental institutions and insane asylums, as well as record numbers of terrorists, human traffickers, and sex traffickers. Numbers that we've never seen before taking place.
Lie, a lie, followed by another lie, and yet followed by 3 more lies. There's nothing that came out of Donald Trump's mouth right then and there that has any semblance to the truth. What's he looking to do? He needs to find a group. He needs to attack that group. He needs to make his people believe that that group is here in this country to harm you, and that he, again, and only he, can fix this country, can save this country from these illegal migrants that are out there, sex trafficking, drug dealers, murderers, rapists, and so on and so forth. No. Do we have a migrant problem? Do we have an immigration issue? Absolutely. And anybody that will tell you that we don't is clearly lying to you. But you're not getting that from Kamala Harris. You're not getting that from the Biden-Harris administration right now. They acknowledge that there are issues. In fact, there was a senator, Langford, Republican, a strong conservative Republican, that had a bill that he intended to introduce on the floor that would have been the first and major act in order to help to combat the problem that this country has when it comes to immigration. But what did Donald do? He reached out to all of his members of Congress, the sycophantic acolytes, these idiots, and he told them, make sure this thing doesn't get to the floor. Vote against it. And so they did. And now what? We still have the problem. So he blocks it. He cock blocks it. And now he wants to tell you how bad the system is. I mean, this is really not the guy that you're going to want to be sitting at the Lincoln desk making any real decisions. All right. This is a petulant child. Now, I want to go to the final clip. You can't make this shit up, my friends. So stay with me here. Go to the final clip where Von Schitzenpants speaks about how everyone wants to lock him up. How this administration is currently weaponizing the Department of Justice against him and only him. Let's go to the clip and you'll get my final reaction.
She and her party are censoring speech, weaponizing the justice system, and trying to throw their political opponents, me, in jail. This hasn't happened. I didn't do that to Crooked Hillary. I said that would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it? Putting the wife of the President of the United States in jail. But they view it differently, I guess, nowadays, but that's okay. And they always have to remember that two can play the game. Nobody ever thought this was possible.
Look, let me be clear about something. The one person who has weaponized the Department of Justice against his critics, against his enemies, is Donald J. Trump. And how do I know? I'm speaking to you from personal experience. I am the first person in this country, to be held as a political prisoner because the former president, through a willing and complicit, bloviated Attorney General Bill Barr, weaponized the Department of Justice, had me unconstitutionally remanded back to prison because I refused to sign a counterfeit document, a document that doesn't exist in the system. And because I refused to waive my First Amendment, my Fourth Amendment, my Eighth Amendment constitutional right in that document, again, which doesn't exist in the system, I was taken by the marshals and I was returned to solitary confinement, making it a total of 51 days. Donald Trump has already turned around and said on multiple occasions that his entire term is going to be about retribution. He intends to use SEAL Team 6, the military, to round up his political enemies and his critics, not to mention migrants, 10 million of them. This is not a Biden-Harris administration policy. This is not something that Kamala Harris intends to bring forth when she wins the presidency. No, this is all Donald Trump grievance, plain and simple. He knows what he's talking about when he's talking about retribution. He knows what he's talking about when he's talking about the weaponization of the Justice Department. For God's sakes, a year before he even decided to run, check out my book, Revenge, How Donald Trump Weaponized the United States Department of Justice Against His Critics. I've been saying that Donald Trump is going to be doing this again. And my fear is that what he did to me was only a practice run. See, I was fortunate. I had Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein, federal court judge, 30 years, who stated emphatically in his 3 decades of being on the bench, never saw anything this gross and this abusive of our Justice Department in his entire career. Donald Trump used that and will use that as basically a playbook. And there will be more people. And my hope and my prayer is that what he did to me is never done to any other American citizen ever, ever again. And that's why I will end this episode by saying there is no choice in terms of who to vote for. None at all. You must make sure, come November, that you vote Harris Walz in 2024. Hey everyone, first of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.